Hello, welcome to Married at First Sight season 13, episode 13's review on Michaela and Zack. So, in this episode of Michaela and Zack and the therapy session, at this point, Michaela and Zack are like a total kind of chaos. The relationship is really in a bad state. When Michaela was talking with Pastor Carl, she was so defensive. She was using that. I don't know whether it's the kind of Will Smith and Jada Pickett kind of mentality. I'm not responsible for your happiness. Blah blah blah. Well, that is everybody have the right to work things out the way that is working for them without interfering with the comfort of other people or making other people to suffer for their choices. So it was to me kind of negative way of thinking. I mean, two cannot work together except they be in agreement. That is what I think. And I think Michaela actually wanted to try in this relationship, but Michaela, I'm hoping that Married at First Sight will give her an opportunity to go for therapy on I think anger issue actually. I think she has some of that. I think part of it is I think Michaela could have been a better person if she had met a more emotionally stable man. Zack is not that person. You see, Michaela had her own issues and her own faults, but to me, with each of these recent episodes, Zack has kind of justified Michaela's behavior. For example, the first argument was that okay, the first one was actually that Michaela was selfish when that she wanted to be with Zack when Zack had COVID. I don't think that is really selfish. Everybody have their way. Maybe it was not thoroughly thought out, but it was a certain information, and she just got married and she would just express her disappointment. I didn't think she expressed in a very bad way. She was not violent or anything. So she just wanted to be with her husband. She expressed that she would have loved to. She was trying to see how they could still be together. I don't think that's a negative thing. I don't think that's a negative thing. It's not like they dragged her out of the house. She left. So then the next thing was her leaving. Well, we see in this last episode that Zack himself packed his load and left. And Zack, one of the things I did not really like about Michaela when she was talking about Zack was always like using that word liar. I felt like, a liar is actually a big word, but as I said, Zack has recently been justifying Michaela's speeches concerning him or adjectives about him because Zack to me did a whole lot of lying in this episode 13. He said Michaela upping and leaving the apartment was, you know, a bad thing, and it was a bad thing to me too, in my own perspective. But he did exactly the same thing because Michaela said she wanted to sleep in a separate room. Are you going to force a woman to sleep with you? A woman you have known less than a month? Why is it that Michaela did not want to sleep in the same room? Because I believe in my own understanding that they would have been intimate, and Michaela did not want to be intimate with a man who does not have enough constructive plans towards them being together on decision day and after decision day. So there is nothing wrong with that. If you are going to be separated, if the possibility of you being separated is higher, and you want to start building your emotional independence on time, there is nothing wrong with that. For Zack to just pack his load and leave is worse than even what Michaela did. Yes, it's worse because he should have had enough time to reflect that this is a habit that he should not emulate, and he was doing just that. Also, the way, when Zack in his session with the expert, Dr. Pepple, you see Zack last time when he was with Viviana made him see his fault, and Zack was kind of manipulative on this in this session because you see that he did not want to be condemned, because as I said, I believe Zack is somebody who likes to be praised and praised. He's used to being called the good boy, the beautiful boy, the everything like that. So he devised a method in this therapy. He condemned itself on at first, so that there was nothing to condemn. I'm a perfectionist. I know this is my fault. I know this is. Zack will just be manipulative. That is what it was. That's what it was. And maybe that is why people are pairing him and Bao together. I know some people don't want to hear it, think that Bao is an angel. Bao is not. Bao is self-preservative, as I said. I can't really fault them because this reality is something, as I said from the beginning, I appreciate each and every one of them participating in this. It is not easy, but I will say it as it is. They are being manipulative. They are thinking of their external image, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I will say it as I see it. So Zack went ahead to condemn himself, his character, so that, and Dr. Pepper was now sympathetic towards him, like, oh, already know your fault. When somebody's already done, you don't beat them. That's just kind of it. So Zack kind of avoided having to have any of his issues aired out or confronted. So it was a kind of like smart move, and he went about that. He's crying, manipulative. That crying is sincerely it's an emotional blackmailing technique of his. So it doesn't really work with me, and Zack really does not treat Michaela well enough. You see, that time they sat under the sun, and they sat after the counseling, and Michaela was in the sun. I was like, "You're in the sun," and Michaela said, "Oh yeah, I preferred it." And he said, "Oh, thank God you are there, because thankfully you are there." I don't know whether I quote God, but he said, because if I had been there, I would have asked for a switch. That is very there's no chivalry in it. So I'm quite disappointed with his behavior. So that was it. And Michaela, at this point, Michaela is not perfect, but I think that with proper guardians, she could have seen the best versions of ourselves when we meet people. That was to person for Michaela. As I said, Zack is like a fire starter to Michaela's anger issues. So he just keeps, this passive aggression. That is what I see from Zack. He demeans her. He makes her look worse than she is. I mean, everybody saw fire in Michaela from the beginning, but like, oh, Michaela and Zack are going to be such a good couple. But that did not happen. So, you see, Zack is just the wrong person for Michaela's kind of person. Michaela has some good intentions. Maybe, as I said, they are just in a chaotic place at this time, and I don't think they are going to make it anyway, based on what we've seen so far. And we are getting closer to the end. We see that Zack is going to say no on decision day, and maybe Michaela, I think Michaela out of pride is going to say no too, because if you see what they discussed the last time, the last argument that Zack made Michaela say she wanted a separate room, Zack asked Michaela what will be her decision on decision day. And from the conversation, we found out that Zack had already told the guys during the volleyball that his decision was most likely going to be no. And then he asked Michaela, and Michaela said she doesn't know. What about him? He said, as far as he knows, it's going to be no. Maybe I'm paraphrasing, but that was what he said. And Michaela was like, and he was angry that Michaela said she did not know. But he was okay with him saying that if he thinks that his answer is going to be based on what the situation or their present situation, that his answer would be no. That's hypocritical. So Zack is a hypocrite at this moment, and he lies, because if you see, he was the one that first brought out his camera, and he lied that Michaela said no, and he said no. You understand? He did not even start it from the beginning. He just said, Michaela says she wants to sleep in a different room, and he doesn't think that is cool. Oh, you want to be sleeping with her, but you are planning on her, you will say no on decision day, and you know how to push her button, so you get her to act violent on TV, so that it is that you are getting away from them, the violent woman, you are not safe in the presence of Michaela, etc., etc. So at this point, I think Zack is being manipulative. I don't like it. I know Michaela has her own issue. I'm not even at this point praying again for them to be together if they don't want to be together. I think they are two beautiful people. It's unfortunate that they can't see that. I think they would have made a good relationship if Zack had the emotional maturity and Michaela felt the emotional security. So Michaela acts out when she doesn't feel emotionally secure. That is what I have deduced, or what I feel. And Zack is more concerned about having this image of perfection, and he doesn't really like himself anyway. So you understand. And see the way he lied to his brother. From what we saw, Michaela wrote a very long text. He selected where he wanted from the text and he read that to every person. So Zack at this moment is manipulative and he lies, obviously. He lied to his brothers. And when he said that Michaela just decided to leave and he did not mind. If he did not mind, then when are you? He said Michaela decided to sleep in a different room and he did not mind. If he did not mind, then why are you leaving? If you don't mind, why are you leaving? Must a woman sleep with you? Are you going to force her to sleep with you? That is wrong. So, well, that's my review on Married at First Sight, episode 13. On Zack and Michaela. Thank you for listening, and thank you for getting me to up to 200 views, each and every one of you, and thank you to my wonderful subscriber.